Hey everybody, how's it going? It's UJ here, and today I want to talk about journaling. So about a year ago, I hosted a small group of my friends because they wanted to learn how to journal. And I've had many of my friends talk to me and say, UJ, you gotta teach me how to do this. I see the value in it. I know you do it pretty regularly, and I see the results you've had in your life. And so I hosted it, and I remember, I had a blast. I really enjoyed sharing about the things that have worked for me, the things that haven't. One of my friends, she was taking notes copiously, tons. She probably had about 6 or 7 pages of notes on what is journaling, how it works, what's the procedure behind it. And a few days later, I received a wonderful, heartfelt message from her sharing about the changes she'd made in her life because of the things she'd learned and the subsequent journaling sessions she'd actually had. She had a few difficult conversations with people in her life. She made some changes that just allowed me to feel just a glow of satisfaction and joy that this stuff works. This stuff is amazing. And even if you take a few minutes to apply this, it can be a really powerful thing for you. And so some of you listening might be aware that I've created something called a 5-minute journal with a good friend of mine, Alex Icon. And this is journaling, but it's not the 5-minute journal kind, because the 5-minute journal is a beautiful, simple process that you can do to become happier and experience more purpose and meaning in your day. This kind of journaling, really, the purpose of it is to get you to a place of insight, to a place where you have a strong understanding of the way things are and how you can move through life. So with that being said, let's cover a little bit of what journaling is. What is journaling? Journaling essentially is the idea of putting thoughts and feelings on paper to have a specific result. Put thoughts and feelings down for a specific result. It can be on paper, it can be on a screen if it's digital, it could be whatever. The point is to get clarity around what you're experiencing. And sometimes I get the question of, UJ, do I write this down? Do I use paper? Do I use kind of my computer? How do I do it? And my response to that is do what feels right to you. Some people like writing out by hand. I'm a fan of digital journaling, especially for long form if I'm going for a while. My brain works too fast for my hand to keep up if I'm actually writing it out. Instead, if I'm typing, my hands can move pretty quickly and I feel more in rhythm and in sync with my thoughts because I can translate my thoughts onto the screen pretty quickly. Do what works well for you. So I also use the physical for a few things. I use the physical 5-minute journal. Even, let's say I'm solving problems, I'm using a physical journal because I'm writing out less things. I'm thinking more about the problems. So try both, figure out what works for you, but chances are there's something that you're going to have a feeling that draws you towards one or the other. Follow that feeling is my advice. The next question that I get typically is, how do I start? How do I start a journal entry? And to start a journal entry, I have a few principles that I think are really important to help you get the most out of the entry. So the first one is commit to honesty. And what I mean by this journal is going to be the first place likely in your life where you can freely say, do, or be anything you want to be without fear of judgment, criticism, or some kind of a punishment, right? You can freely express yourself. Nobody's ever going to read it if you don't want it to. You can destroy it right after. And give yourself the permission to express yourself fully, freely. And you might find sometimes you're uncomfortable about writing things that you know might be true, or you might be afraid of discovering something that might be true. And that might mean you'll have to change a few things. Remember, that discomfort is exactly what you're looking for. That discomfort is actually what tells you you're making progress. You're actually getting to the foundation of something that is going to make your life better. So you're committing to just basically going deep with yourself and with no one else for that time period. The second thing I recommend doing is shutting off notifications on your phone, on your computer. You can even turn off the internet. It's not going to help you when you're journaling. The whole point is to develop a closed container where you can express yourself really well. And the third thing you want to do is to make it an enjoyable experience for you. I like coffee, so I usually have a cup of coffee in my right. I love music, and I usually have my noise canceling headphones, noise canceling turned on, because I'm usually like grooving to music when I'm journaling. Find out what works well for you and make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it a thing that you were excited for, that you want to have fun with, that you are curious about, because that's what's going to allow you to help you make it into a habit. Final thing I want to talk about is when you're staring at that blank piece of paper, when you're staring at that blank screen, you're going to be asking, oh man, this is so intimidating. How do I start? And one question is what you want to start with. The one question you start with is, what's important to me right now? Ask yourself, what's important to me right now? Write that question out and start writing. The thing is, you don't want any filter between your brain and the screen or your brain and the paper. You keep writing. And so you don't want to be ever in a situation where you say, UJ, I don't know what to write. If you're thinking, I don't know what to write down, I don't know what to write. Because what's going on is you're going to develop a powerful communication system between your brain and the paper, your brain and the screen. And that's what allows you to have more clarity, because once you have it down, you can start to change it up. You can start to decipher it and make it cleaner and make it simpler and make it make more sense. So journaling has been used by tons of really incredible people. Benjamin Franklin, Albert Einstein, Buckminster Fuller, a lot of strong athletes, musicians, anybody who works on their performance consistently usually has lots of journals around their performance, around how to figure things out, around how to solve problems, things like that. It can be a huge help for you. And I wish you luck on your journey. So before you leave, a quick action step, because without action, really, you've been wasting your time here, is find a spot. Even if it's right now, find 10 minutes to have a quick journaling session. Just feel how it feels like to get a quick session in, and ask yourself the questions that really matter. So do it either right now or just book in your calendar so you know you'll do it. Thanks for listening. This is a hugely important topic for me. So if you have any questions around that, just ask me down below, and I'll be happy to answer any of them or potentially make future videos on them. And remember to subscribe. Don't forget, this kind of stuff happens every week or so. So subscribe down below, ask any questions you have, and I'll see you next week.